Meta, the tech giant, formerly Facebook, they've made headlines again
Oh, yeah.
with another round of layoffs.
Right.
Thousands of jobs are being cut.
Wow.
Adding to, the waves of cuts we saw in 2022 and even earlier this year.
Yeah.
It really makes you think, for anyone in tech or even, just following the news,
Absolutely.
this has to raise some questions
Big question.
about what's next.
It's certainly a dramatic story, and it's tempting to see this as, a sign of trouble for the entire tech industry.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider that Meta isn't alone.
Right.
We've seen other major players like Google, Amazon, Microsoft,
Oh, wow.
and even Salesforce announce their own downsizing plans.
So it's not just a Meta problem.
No.
It's an industry-wide shift.
Yeah.
But before we jump to conclusions, let's unpack what's really going on here.
Okay.
What are the forces driving these massive layoffs?
Well, one key factor is the pressure these companies are facing from Wall Street. Investors are demanding to see profits, particularly after the huge hiring sprees
I see.
that happened during the pandemic.
Right?
Companies are now having to streamline and cut costs
Yeah.
to meet those investor expectations.
Okay, so it's partly about the pendulum swinging back from that, growth at all costs mentality
Right.
to a more bottom-line focused approach.
Exactly.
But there has to be more to it than just Wall Street, right?
Yeah,
We keep hearing about the role of AI, artificial intelligence.
absolutely. AI and automation are changing the game for many industries,
Wow.
and tech is no exception.
Okay.
Companies are investing billions into these technologies,
Right.
betting that they'll be more efficient and cost-effective in the long run.
So, in a sense, some traditional tech jobs are becoming obsolete
Yeah.
as companies shift their focus and investment towards these new technologies.
That's one way to look at it. It's not just about saving money.
Okay.
It's about investing in what companies see as the future of their business.
Yeah.
And for Meta, a big part of that future is tied to their vision of the metaverse.
Right. The metaverse, that massive investment into virtual and augmented reality.
Exactly.
It's been a huge gamble, and so far,
Yeah,
it hasn't quite paid off in the way they hoped.
exactly. The slow adoption of the metaverse has definitely contributed to Meta's need to cut costs elsewhere.
I see.
It's a stark reminder that even the biggest tech companies
Right.
are subject to market forces
Yeah.
and the unpredictable nature of new technologies.
This has to be unsettling for anyone working in tech,
Yeah,
especially those whose jobs have been directly impacted by these layoffs.
absolutely.
But for those of us watching from the outside or considering a career in tech,
Right.
what does this all mean for the future of the industry?
Yeah.
Are tech jobs disappearing, or is something bigger happening here?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And while no one has a crystal ball, I think it's important to remember that the tech landscape is constantly evolving.
Okay.
This isn't the end of tech jobs. It's a shift in the types of skills that are in high demand.
So instead of panicking, we need to understand how to adapt to this new reality.
Exactly.
What are the skills that will be critical for success in the future of tech work?
Well, that's exactly what we'll be diving into in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay.
We'll explore some of the emerging fields, the specific skills that will be in high demand,
Right.
and how you can start positioning yourself for success in this exciting,
Yeah.
albeit somewhat unpredictable, industry.
That sounds good.
Yeah. Welcome back to our deep dive into the future of tech work.
Yeah.
We've been unpacking the recent wave of layoffs
Right.
hitting the tech industry
Yeah.
and what it all means for you,
Right.
whether you're currently working in tech or hoping to break into the field.
It's easy to get caught up in the doom and gloom of those headlines.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to remember that disruption often creates opportunities.
Yeah.
This isn't necessarily the end of an era for tech jobs,
Right.
but it is an evolution.
Precisely. And to understand that evolution,
Yeah.
we need to look at the specific areas where tech is changing most rapidly.
Okay.
Remember that narrative we discussed earlier about Meta's big bet on the metaverse?
Uh-huh.
Well, that's a prime example of how the industry is shifting.
Right.
While that particular gamble hasn't fully paid off yet,
Right.
it highlights the constant experimentation and innovation happening in tech.
Okay, so even with the layoffs, there's still a lot of investment happening in new areas like the metaverse.
Absolutely.
It makes me wonder, though, what are some of the other emerging fields that people should be paying attention to right now? What are those skills that are going to be in high demand, say, 5 or 10 years down the road?
It's tough to predict the future with certainty,
Yeah.
but if we look at some of the key trends, certain areas stand out.
Okay.
For example, we've talked about AI.
Right.
But it's worth diving a little deeper because it's not just about becoming a data scientist or machine learning engineer.
Okay.
The applications of AI are so vast that it's creating entirely new categories of work.
So it's not just about the technical skills.
No.
It's about understanding how to apply those skills in new and creative ways.
Right.
Can you give us some examples of how this is playing out in the real world?
Absolutely. Think about the rise of AI-powered tools in creative fields.
Okay.
We now have AI that can generate images, compose music,
Wow.
even create video scripts.
Really?
This is opening up possibilities for artists, writers, musicians,
Wow.
anyone who can leverage these tools to enhance their own creativity.
It's like having a superpowered creative partner.
Yeah.
But it also raises some questions, doesn't it? Like,
Mhm.
who owns the rights to a song composed by AI?
That's exactly the kind of question that a new field is grappling with. AI ethics.
Okay.
As these technologies become more sophisticated,
Right.
we need people who can think critically about their impact on society and ensure they're used responsibly.
So it's not just about the hard skills of coding and algorithms,
No.
but also the soft skills like critical thinking,
Right.
ethics, and communication.
Exactly.
Those are going to be even more valuable in a world increasingly shaped by AI.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
And let's not forget that even in fields like healthcare, where AI is playing a growing role in things like diagnostics and drug discovery, it's ultimately human doctors and nurses who use these tools to provide care to patients.
It's about finding that balance,
Yeah.
that synergy between human expertise and AI capabilities.
Precisely. And this brings us to another area that's seeing a lot of innovation and job growth: sustainability.
Okay.
As the world grapples with climate change,
Right.
like there's a huge demand for professionals who can develop and implement clean energy solutions, reduce waste,
Wow.
and build a more sustainable economy.
This is something I'm personally passionate about,
How cool.
and it's exciting to see how technology is being used to address these critical challenges.
Yeah.
It seems like there are opportunities in everything from renewable energy to smart cities to sustainable agriculture.
Exactly. And while we're looking ahead,
Yeah.
let's not forget about the final frontier: space exploration.
Oh, wow.
With companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin pushing the boundaries of what's possible,
Right.
we're going to need a whole new generation of engineers, scientists,
Okay.
and astronauts to explore space.
That's an area that definitely captures the imagination.
Yeah,
It's a good reminder that while we're focused on the immediate shifts in the tech landscape,
right.
there are also these long-term opportunities on the horizon.
Absolutely.
The key is to stay curious, keep learning, and be open to new possibilities.
Couldn't agree more. And speaking of new possibilities,
Yeah.
we're also seeing a shift in how work itself is structured.
Okay.
The rise of remote work, the gig economy, the creator economy. All of these are giving people more flexibility and control over their careers.
This is an exciting development, but it also comes with its own set of challenges, right?
Yeah,
It requires people to be much more proactive and self-directed in managing their careers.
you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
We can't just rely on traditional institutions or employers to provide job security anymore.
Right.
We have to create our own security by building a portfolio of skills and experiences that make us valuable, no matter how the landscape shifts.
It's about being adaptable, resourceful, and, as we've been saying, committed to lifelong learning.
Exactly, and that brings us to the heart of what we'll be exploring in the final part of our deep dive.
Okay.
How can you navigate this evolving landscape and position yourself for success in the future of tech work?
Right.
What are the specific steps you can take, the resources you can tap into to build a thriving career in this exciting, ever-changing industry?
Well, stay tuned because we're going to dive into all of that in just a moment. Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into the future of tech work. We've covered a lot of ground, from the impact of those recent layoffs to the rise of AI and the importance of adapting to this evolving landscape.
And now, it's time to get practical. We want to leave you with actionable advice and resources to help you not just survive, but thrive in this exciting new world of tech.
Okay, so let's talk strategy. Where do we even begin?
It all starts with mindset.
Okay.
You need to cultivate what's called a growth mindset,
Okay.
which is the belief that your abilities and intelligence can be developed through dedication and hard work.
So it's not about being born with a certain skill set.
Yeah.
It's about being open to learning and growing throughout your career. I love that.
Exactly. And that leads directly to our next point: lifelong learning. The tech world is constantly changing, so the skills you have today might be outdated tomorrow. You need to make continuous learning a part of your life.
That makes total sense, but it can also feel overwhelming. Where do you even start?
The good news is there are more resources available than ever before. We've already mentioned platforms like Coursera and Udemy,
Right.
which offer thousands of online courses on just about any tech topic you can imagine.
And those are great options, but they can also be a bit pricey. What about for people who are on a budget?
There are tons of free resources out there too. YouTube has incredible tutorials and educational content. Khan Academy is another great option.
Oh, yeah.
And don't underestimate the value of online communities where you can connect with experts and peers in your field and learn from each other.
It's about being proactive and taking ownership of your professional development. Don't wait for your employer to provide training. Go out and find it yourself.
Absolutely. And as you're learning, think about specialization. It's good to have a broad understanding of the tech landscape, but you also need to develop deep expertise in one or two specific areas.
So become the go-to expert in your niche, whether it's AI, cybersecurity, cloud computing, or anything else that really captures your interest.
Exactly, and don't be afraid to niche down even further.
Okay.
For example, within AI, you could specialize in natural language processing or computer vision.
Right.
The more specialized you become, the more valuable you'll be.
It's about becoming that indispensable problem solver, that person who has the unique skills to tackle a very specific challenge.
Right. And while you're honing those skills, don't forget about networking. Building strong relationships with people in your field is crucial. Attend industry events, join online communities, connect with people on LinkedIn, and just generally make an effort to expand your professional circle.
And it's not just about collecting business cards, is it?
Not at all. It's about building genuine connections, being helpful, offering your own expertise, and supporting others in their journey.
I think sometimes people forget that networking is a two-way street. It's about building relationships, not just collecting contacts.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of building something, in today's digital world, personal branding is more important than ever.
Yeah.
You want to cultivate a strong online presence that showcases your skills and expertise.
So create a professional website or portfolio. Share your thoughts on industry blogs or social media. Become a thought leader in your niche.
Exactly. This makes you more visible to potential employers or clients and helps you stand out from the crowd.
It's about crafting your own narrative and controlling how you present yourself to the world.
Now, let's talk about something that's often overlooked. Resilience.
Okay.
The tech world is unpredictable.
Yeah.
There will be setbacks, rejections, maybe even layoffs.
Right.
You need to develop the resilience to bounce back, learn from your mistakes,
Right.
and keep moving forward.
This is so important.
Yeah.
It's easy to get discouraged, but those who succeed are the ones who can pick themselves up and try again.
Exactly. Surround yourself with a supportive network of friends, family, and mentors who can offer encouragement and advice.
Yeah.
And remember, failure is not the opposite of success. It's a stepping stone on the path to success.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one key takeaway you want to leave our listeners with?
The future of tech work is full of possibilities, both exciting and challenging.
Right.
By embracing a growth mindset, committing to lifelong learning, specializing in areas you're passionate about.
Building strong relationships and cultivating resilience, you can shape your own future in this incredible industry.
The tech landscape might be shifting, but the future belongs to those who are ready to adapt, learn, and create. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the future of tech work.